Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Tommy Wave Budget Deck series. As you can see, we are here with Priest today. Before we jump into things, as always, we will go through the criteria for the Budget Deck series. Hello, my face is here now. As always, going through the criteria, so with the Budget Deck series, we don't set an arbitrary dust limit on our deck. Instead, what we want to do is we want to focus on the core of a deck. So it could be about 4 to 6 rares, no legendaries, no epics or anything like that. And what we want you to be able to do is to take this core of a deck, these cheaper cards, and if you want to invest more dust, invest more gold, invest more time into the deck, you have a reasonable upgrade path. You can add some epics, some legendaries, some more rares into the deck, and eventually move you towards having a proper tier 1 deck. I don't like telling people to craft terrible cards, or cards that they're not going to get a lot of value out of. So that's why we do that. The last thing there, not so much relevant now, but definitely going to be relevant in the coming expansion. But we want to prioritize cards that aren't rotating. We want to make sure that when we do use dust, that we are getting the most bang for our buck. I also want to let everyone know, just before we go into some of those high-performing priest decks, take a look at some of those. I use HS Replay to get all of my data. I really enjoy it, especially if you're a deck builder out there. They have some great data out there. If you want to learn matchup data, if you want to see what the best mulligan win rates are, I definitely recommend using it. You can even get their premium service, which gives you access to some extra stats. And if you do choose to do that, if you use my referral link, it actually supports the channel. It really helps me out. But you certainly don't have to go do that. And it's a fantastic site just on the free service anyway. So let's take a look at what Priest has been doing in the Boomsday expansion. So I've got a couple of decks here that have been doing quite well. The first one I've got here is Control Priest. So Control Priest was a pretty was one of the decks to beat early on in the expansion, and has just been a really solid choice throughout. I think these decks even get played in a lot of tournaments still, just because it is quite consistent. The game plan is just a lot of control, you know, with cards like Psychic Scream, cards like Duskbreaker, and you're going to control the game until you eventually land a Shadow Reaper Anduin, and you can grind your opponent out. Or alternatively, you have the Mind Blast victory condition, where you can, you know, draw a Mind Blast or two, Shadow Vision's another one, hit your opponent with Alex, and then Mind Blast them to death. Works particularly well against Warlock as well. If they tap themselves too low, you can just Mind Blast them to death. Another deck that cropped up really early on was Mecha'thun Priest. Mecha'thun Combo Priest. This version is playing the Quest. We've seen Quest and Questless versions, but the whole idea of this deck is to draw your entire deck and combo off with Coffin Crasher, Mecha'thun, Ticking Abomination, these kinds of things. But mainly we want to be drawing through our deck with Dead Ringers, Thalnos, Powered Shield. Some decks even play like Acolyte of Pain as well, Loot Hoarders. Just make sure that we get through all of our decks so our Mecha'thun can trigger. And this type of list does have some extremely good matchups, but unfortunately took a big dive once even Warlock and Control Warlock started packing the demonic projects. Moving on, we've got Topsy-Turvy Priest, or Topsy-Turvy OTK Priest. This one is playing the Quest as well. This is a combo deck that revolves around shenanigans with Topsy-Turvy, Test Subject, Vivid Nightmare, and Divine Spirit. Just doing a bunch of stuff with that, and then hitting your opponent with a giant Stone Tusk Boar, or several giant Stone Tusk Boars. With some Radiant Elementals in play. Very interesting deck. If you don't know how the deck works, definitely recommend watching some videos or playing the sweet Flash game that someone made, which teaches you how to do the combo. But unfortunately, this deck, whilst really cool, really sweet, has quite a low win rate. So I can't really get behind this as a ladder deck, but I can definitely get behind it as a fun deck. Lastly, we've got Combo Priest here. This is a bit more typical to what we see, and something that we'll be trying to play today. So this is less of a hardcore combo version of Combo Priest, and more of a controlling version of it. We've seen versions which kind of top out at Lyra, aim to do a lot in the early game, which is a previous budget deck that we've played. But instead this one goes a bit higher. It's got Psychic Stream, it's got like Lesser Diamond Spellstone in here, which I think is really cool. Witchwood Grizzly, playing more of a grindy kind of game. We've got Eternal Servitude in here, which is really good with the Injured Blade Masters or any of our huge threats. But we still have that core of Shadow Visions to go find our Divine Spirits or our Topsy-Turvy. Topsy-Turvy functioning like Inner Fire here. And we can hope to combo our opponent out if they leave us with a minion on board, like a Witchwood Grizzly. Pretty quickly kills your opponent. Alright, so let's take a look at what we've got for you today. So I'll take a look at the core of Combo Priest or Inner Fire Priest, at least what I believe it to be. We've got obviously our Inner Fire Divine Spirit combo. If you haven't seen this before, the whole idea is that we're going to try and land, for example, an Acolyte of Pain, because we have one here. We want to draw a couple of Divine Spirits so we can hit it once to go to 6, hit it twice to go to 12, Inner Fire it, and we've got a 12/12, which is pretty cool. But ideally we want to be adding on things like Power Word Shield, Unidentified Elixir, maybe some Shadow Ascendant triggers, in order to get that minion as beefy as possible, hopefully, preferably above 30, so we can one-shot our opponent. To support that, we've got cards like Northshire Cleric, which is fantastic turn 1 play. It really helps us draw through our deck, find those pieces, makes it a bit hard for our opponent to be really aggressive in the early game, particularly if they're a deck like Odd Paladin, stuff like that. We can trade pretty easily. We've got Radiant Elemental, which will help us combo off. We've got Shadow Ascendant, I've included in here, just to give us a bit more of a tempo game plan. I'm not 100% confident on the Shadow Ascendant, but I'm keen to test this one out, and I think this is a really sweet card. Wild Pyromancer is our board clear for the deck. We're going to need this to compete with decks like Zoo Warlock and things like that. We will need some kind of board clear. And I've chosen Wild Pyro for this deck as opposed to something like a Holy Nova or a Duskbreaker. And Wild Pyro is in Classic, so it's a good craft. Acolyte of Pain for a bit of draw. An Unidentified Elixir as a buff. And also this card has some pretty sweet modes on it. Particularly the Summon an Extra Copy of a Minion is great with Acolyte of Pain, great with Northshire Cleric, great with Radiant Elemental. Divine Shield can really help you trade quite well. Lifesteal can be a godsend in some of those aggressive matchups. So I really like Unidentified Elixir. It's common as well, great common. So we'll take a look at the full version of the deck. Now what I've done is I've gone on a bit of a different route to what we usually go down. I don't want to be unoriginal and just keep playing Inner Fire, the same Inner Fire Priest deck for all these budget videos. So I've actually gone for a mech kind of build in here. So we'll go through the mechs first. We've got at the 2-drop, we've got Upgradable Framebot, so a nice 2-mana 1/5, so not exactly the most aggressive card, but it does have really high toughness, which is exactly what we want for our Divine Spirit for these kinds of things. We've got Bronze Gatekeeper, once again, not very aggressive, but high toughness. This can help slow down the board as well, help protect our Northshire Cleric, very good with Shadow Ascendant. And if we do go for a combo turn, if you imagine, our opponent passes back to us with some mana up, we've got an Upgradable Framebot in play, we can hit it with a Bronze Gatekeeper, hit it with a Divine Spirit, Inner Fire, and it's 20/20, which is huge. So Bronze Gatekeeper card will be keeping an eye out for, seeing how combo-licious it is. And we've also got Unpowered Steambot at 4-drop. Now this is a card that does see play in some combo Inner Fiery decks, and it's actually a card I'm not a big fan of, but I feel like this is a good opportunity to test it, good opportunity to get some data out there, and hopefully change my mind on this lovely steamy boy. And at the 5-drop, this is kind of the reason that I went for the mech package as well. We've got War Gear. This is going to give us something else to do whilst we're trying to find our combo pieces. We can strap this onto one of our smaller mech boys, and we've actually got a reasonable body that we can punch into things. It also can kind of function just like Bronze Gatekeeper as a buff when we're trying to combo off. So I really like the idea of War Gear in this deck, but we'll have to see during the games how well it goes. Other cards we've included Circle of Healing to go with our Wild Pyromancer, and in general just to go with our large toughness minions. We've got a Singleton Divine Hymn in here. I usually don't like Divine Hymn, but the last Inner Fire Priest deck we played and the budget when I played at the budget tournament, that deck had Divine Hymn in it, and it was really sick. It was phenomenal. Goes, once again, really well with Wild Pyromancer. So, keen to give this one a shot. Also a great draw against those aggressive decks. Keep us nice and healthy. And other than that, we've just got the Singleton Spellbreaker in here as a bit of tech. I think Spellbreaker is probably the way to go, or a silence effect rather, is the way to go, because we want to make sure we can get through those taunts when we do combo off. Usually I would include maybe like a silence in here or a master spell, because those are particularly good when you have shadow visions in the deck. But that's one of the biggest concessions we have to make for this budget deck, is we can't play shadow visions, as it is an epic. But I think if you wanted to make this deck and you had a little bit of extra dust, that is the first thing that I would craft, would be shadow visions. You know, start cutting out some of these tech bits, add some more silver bullets in. I think it'd be really good. So let's jump into some games, and let's see how we go.
Light shall bring victory.
Alright, up here against another druid. Keep the Radiant Elemental. Send back these Inner Fires. Hopefully they don't end up on the bottom of our deck. Oh, Wargears.
Happy Hollow's End.
Happy Hallow's End.
Okay,
Spectacular.
it's a pretty good start here. See how our opponent wants to deal with this. The Wild Growth, as always. Wild Growth, a particularly strong card. Particularly strong card. Be really interesting to see what happens to Druid once Ultimate Infestation goes. I know a lot of people were calling for Nourish to be nerfed in the most recent round of nerfs. Speak of the devil. Oh my gosh. If our opponent has the Ultimate Infestation, we are thoroughly dunked. I would hazard. But this is might be good if our opponent tries to answer our like Radiant Elemental or something. We can get in with the Wargear on the unpowered Steambot. Now, if they have Primordial Drake, Furion. What do you want to do? Poisonous? No, Taunto. So we could make a 14-14. I kind of feel like just going like Inner Fire, Steambot, trade. Let's draw a card first. Okay. Yeah, just like the other Druid game, we want to try and maybe bait out a bit of removal. And like maybe diversify some threats a little bit rather than kind of commit just to one. MCT, Mind Control Tech. Oh, true. Thank you, Dark Rituals. If they don't Mind Control Tech now, it's because you reminded me. That's always how it works, right? I guess it's always like when you play around it, they never have it. Draw. Mind Control Tech. Okay, we got some Spellstones coming our way. One. Just the one Spellstone.
Death is eternal. My turn is not.
Okay, so we want to try and play around Ultimate Infestation as much as we can.
Bring pain.
Mana Pool is great, by the way. Thanks for suggesting. Mana Pool by Vapor. Yeah, that's a fantastic fantastic album for all you Vaporwave heads out there. Definitely a classic one, for sure. You know, I'd put that right up with Floral Shop. Here's one for you, Bala Macabre. I've heard the name before. I'm trying to think where it was from. Okay, now our opponent has the options. So we could go for like War Gear, Attack, Shadow Ascendant. See what we find. North Shire. Okay, I can get behind a North Shire. So let's
Is someone injured?
Full steam!
Is someone injured? The shadows
okay. Feeling okay. Yeah, Triangle Records. Let me just Cub. Ooh, we're on some Comtrues.
Tangled worker.
Sea Birds. Oh wow. Wow. They had a lot of songs come out last year.
My thoughts are plagued. Death is eternal.
Are they though?
My turn is not.
Is this the... No, the other Spellstone. Alright. Steambot down.
Let the pain speak to me. To play with fire.
Not exactly what we were looking for there. That's what we wanted.
right away.
Y2 Clerics? I'm not 100% on it. Ultimately, I think we probably didn't play around Spreading Plague enough. I think I was too in the mindset of the Taunt Druid that we played against, being like, oh, they don't have Spreading Plague, so I think we definitely played into it. So we're not exactly on the ball 100% today. It's extremely hot. I'm sweating my pants off.
Pay attention, class.
Token.
I'm ready to learn.
Death is eternal. My turn is not.
I'm ready to learn.
I'll pack this one up too.
You have best.
Master spell. I think. How many rares are in the deck? It's 2 wild pyromancers, and that's it. I think that's a card that I'll mention is instead of the Spellbreaker, that Master Spell is a viable option. I mean, we'll keep it budget, but I think you're right, Dark Rituals, that this is the type of deck that maybe needs a Master Spell. The reason I didn't include it is A, budget reasons. I don't think Master Spell is the greatest use of dust. It's a pretty narrow card, but also without Shadow Visions in the deck, I was like, oh, we don't have to include some like Silver Bullet cards.
Anduin versus Malfurion. I must protect.
Okay, another
Shall bring victory.
another druid. I think we'll keep the elixir and the framebot. I think this framebot's pretty likely to live. The druids are everywhere. Yeah, feels that way today. Whoa! Okie dokie. Biology project in the house.
What is my purpose?
That's why I get to rank 5 and then do quests. Tired of it. Yeah, I mean the grind from 10 to 5 is definitely something that is often underrated. Can be quite tough. I mean, I kind of want to start hitting our opponent for 9. And the Acolyte's kind of a bit of a backup plan, like if they do have the Naturalize here, you know, we can start trying to draw into some more pieces. Mechathune Druid, Naturalize. Do they play 1 Naturalize or 2? Yeah, I think all these Druids, oh gosh, it's all, like, they do have the answers. And I get maybe our game plan of trying to, like, string out like individually smaller threats is not the way that we should be going. We should just hard commit to one thing and hope that they don't have it. Maybe we'll actually have a better win rate if we do that. Alright, well let's diversify our threats, I guess. Yeah, Bear Shark. Bear Shark. Oh, against Druid? Yummy, yummy. Bear Shark into Houndmaster? Oh. Very good. Except you know every game they have that. You have that. They'll have, like, the Ironwood Golem or whatever to goof you up. Is this Armor and play 2 Spellstones? It is Armor, play 2 Spellstones. That's not the worst draw. Oh, love to silence that. Or do we? Do we just want to go for Northshire and a couple of draws? Steambot good.
Is someone injured?
If you don't win soon, it's over. I think we have a little bit. Just a little bit of time. Because the problem with silencing is it's still on the board and we're only hitting for 9. Like then they trade in. It's a golem. They didn't even attack. What? Now can we kill them? Well, we can make this a 9. Silence this. Attack, attack. Hit them for 3, 6, 15. More if we play the war gear. I guess we don't have to silence it, right? We can save it for the next one.
Bring the pain.
No, we should have healed. I should have healed before we traded off the Northshire. But it has the cool card back. Is this the Overwatch card back? I think it's the Overwatch card back. I like it. It's nice and simple. Uh-oh. They didn't have the naturalize though. Interesting. 10, 15, 18, 23.
Protocol 7.
Your magic shall not save death.
Lemonade is the most used new card back I've ever seen because it's the best card back. Dark Rituals. It is truly the best card back. It's just so chill. And like, I don't know. It's like 20 something degrees, 28 degrees today. Celsius. Perfect. Oh no. Oh. Only 2 taunts. It's okay then.
I concede.
Woo! Da, 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 da.
Your soul shall be mine.
Okay, up here against Warlock.
Light shall bring victory.
I think we'll just keep the Radiant Elemental. If this is Zoo, we might have a tough time. Great draw. Takes the book. What kind of delivery? Clothes. Nothing exciting, unfortunately. That's an interesting one. See what our opponent gets up to. Okay, so definitely Zoo. So what we might do, because like it seems pretty clear that our opponent doesn't have Soulfire. So what we might do is actually just try and go off with this Radiant Elemental. Kind of, I guess, hope that they don't have a Silence. Actually going to Divine Spirit it as well. Yeah, just a delivery of clothes, unfortunately. Okay. This Divine Hymn's going to be pretty tasty, I would imagine. Ooh. Yes, please. So we can actually bump here, and we can heal twice, right? Because this is a 3, 5, 7, 14, so we can heal. And then we'll fire off this Divine Hymn now, I think. Whilst it's a little bit cheaper. Ooh, second Northshire is very good too. Means we can do some stuff with this Circle of Healing. I don't think Zoo carries Silence, right? Some Zoo lists will play Spellbreakers. I think it's a totally reasonable card to play, but it's not like 100% thing, so you're totally right. Ah, no, I wanted the heal. Steambot's quite good here, I think.
Is someone injured?
This is the Pyro. Wrong time to join the board, Pyro. If we had held off one turn, we would have had some shenanigans to do. All we want to do is dig and try and find that Inner Fire. Or the second Divine Spirit and an Inner Fire.
Unleash me.
That's pretty good. Let's just get another heal off with this Northshire cleric though, so... Bit risky. Am I on mute? No, I'm not on mute, sorry. Dark Rituals? We were just deep in the tank. You know how it gets sometimes. We just want to make sure that we're sequencing things correctly. Is this the Spellbreaker?
Your magic.
Ah! Nord! You cursed me! That's okay. We've got a good follow-up here with the Steambot into Bronze Gatekeeper. But our opponent's on a lot of life. And if this is a YCkfsCzIEDAA... Oh, Voodoo Doctor. Weird that they wouldn't, Ooh, Lifesteal? Yes, please. think we'll go for the... We'll go like this. Dark Rituals got a new surface for Hearthstone play. Maybe Magic the Gathering Arena. Yeah, I was actually talking to someone the other day that like, now they have the chain gang. I was talking to someone and just being like, if I had the money, I'd buy a surface to play Magic on.
Access denied.
Let's get this Shadow Ascendant out here, rather than the Acolyte. Whilst card draw might be good now, we'd have to hit a couple of things. I think the Shadow Ascendant might complicate things for our opponent as well. Stops copies me. What deck are we playing tonight? We're playing this budget Inner Fire Mech Priest kind of thing, which is very specific.
Boomsday.
I think we'll trade here.
What is my purpose?
Do my bidding.
Just gonna get some boys and girls on the field. I think the real question is over the next 3 turns, if our opponent just taps every single turn and they draw cards like Despicable Dreadlord and Doomguard and things like that, and Fungal Mancer, then we're in a bit of a hole. Wants to trade. Ooh, they're gonna let us get multiple draws off this Acolyte. Maybe? Demon Fire? Voodoo Doctor. Okay.
Bring the pain.
Gosh. Come on.
Let the pain speak to me.
I comply.
What spells do we have left in our deck? We've got the 2 Inner Fires. We have no Divine Spirits. And 1 Circle of Healing. We'll hold it. We'll hold it. You know, we've got a couple of draws here as well. Like, we might be able to pick up 1 or 2 of them.
Why do you call?
It's pretty good. I've been doing it on the train recently. You've been playing Magic Arena on the train. Oh my gosh. All these lucky surface people. Alright, come on. Let's, show me the good stuff. Show me the good stuff. Well, that's interesting.
Your magic shall not save.
Access denied.
So this might be a bit weird, but I think our opponent will go for they might bump in with some of these 2/2s, which sets us up for a really good Pyro.
Truth is found.
Where's the Kelliser? They didn't do what we wanted. Damn it. They are going to give us a bunch of cards. They want to deck us. This is Doomguard. -1 Soulfire. Unfortunately, Circle of Healing is not good here. We needed to hit the Inner Fire first.
What is my purpose?
Protocol 7.
You are the Shadow's puppets.
See if they have the second silence. Or just a 6/6 happy girl. The last 2 cards in our deck are both of our inner fires. I don't think we can win this one. Unless our opponent savagely misplays. I can't see that happening though. They still have a Doom Guard left, and the Doom Guard is better than all of these cards. Nordrassil, I'm freaking out. What's going on? What is going on? What are you freaking out for?
It's playtime.
How long can this go on? How long?
We're in New York City. A large portion of life is on trains. Oh yeah. I've heard that before. No dice.
You have better.
That's an interesting one. I think if we had hit some different draws, we might have been in there a bit earlier. But oh well. Okay, we are here with the deck, the budget mech Inner Fire Priest. We just played some games. Didn't have the greatest of games there. Unfortunately, we did hit a lot of Druids, and I feel like Druid is a pretty bad matchup for this kind of deck, where all we're trying to do is land some kind of early innocuous threats, have our opponent not answer them on a turn, and then we can start buffing things up and going to town. Whereas facing a lot of Druids, a lot of Naturalizers, a lot of Taunts out there, and a lot of removal between Spellstones and Swipe and all that stuff, so it makes the game plan a little bit tough to execute. But I still think this deck is great, especially at those higher ranks. You're going to be pulling off some sweet combos and murdering people nice and quick. I really enjoyed playing with the mech package, the War Gears and Steambots and Bronze Gatekeeper and Upgradable Framebot, and whilst it is a little bit low on the power level scale, especially compared to those proper tier 1 decks that we looked at, I like that all of these cards are common. If you've been playing Hearthstone and you've cracked even just 10 or 20 packs of Boomsday, you've probably got these cards lying around. So it's a nice budget inclusion to the deck. And if you wanted to start moving towards a proper combo priest or even control priest, you can obviously start cutting these for things like Psychic Screams, Lyra, Shadow Visions, of course, and some other individual answers. The only other thing that I'd say is that this Spellbreaker didn't feel like it was enough, especially against all these Druids, and that the chat pointed out that a card like Master Spell would actually be really good here. Obviously, Master Spell is just rare. It is rare. I wouldn't recommend crafting it if you are really tight on dust, but if you've got a Master Spell around, feel free to cut this Spellbreaker, get a Master Spell, maybe even 2 in there, and see how you go. But yeah, other than that, if you are watching on YouTube, all the links are down in the description, including a link over to this deck over on Hearthpwn, which is done by me. Jump over there, give it a +1, leave a lovely, thoughtful comment, as I know you will. And until next time, stay safe, stay wavy, and eat the rich. Bye! I hope you enjoyed that video. Check out other ones over here, or come subscribe to the Wave Pool for more excellent times.